Hi there, this is Eric Niles, and here's my little brief interview to try to give you a cursory overview of my life. Uh, I got into studying exercise physiology and deep human performance like a lot of kids, out of passion, much like a physical therapy student who got rotator cuffs injuries or hip injuries from sports, and it gave him a fascination for the body. Mine was like literally NCAA Division One distance running. By the time I'm 25 years old, getting a graduate degree in clinical exercise physiology in a little private New England college. I probably had visions of making the U.S. Olympic team back then, uh, running 70 to 140 miles a week, testing, and my body being like a NASCAR engine of performance and research on ergogenic aids and supplements and VO2 max stress testing and all of those things that we're fascinated by. That was my initial, why did I study what I did? I wasn't the typical nurse, let me get into a hospital to treat sicknesses. But as I sauntered down Interstate 81 to Nashville, Tennessee years ago, I got into the clinical side of exercise physiology, like cardiac rehab, pulmonary rehab, a little bit of metabolic testing with a performance metabolic testing company. So I still stay up on touch. Like I know the latest non-invasive devices. Panoe, I think, is the name of the company that has the most portable, small um, oxygen metabolic rate testing. If you want to look at respiratory exchange ratio and all that data, so I know what was used 20 years ago, what's used now. I got into that area. I was self-employed for a bit in my 30s. I got into the corporate employee wellness division. So that kind of opened my eyes. I began to see what mass companies are doing, General Motors and all the big corporations, whether it's musculoskeletal claims or insulin resistance, diabetes, metabolic syndrome. But it's just the average worker, average person who's stressed and overworked or overcommitted and life is unbalanced. And so if you take, my roles from clinical to corporate health coaching, having some directing roles, I moved up into Kentucky 2 years ago to manage a med spa hormone replacement. So I know the latest markers and blood work, and I know some of the top bioidentical hormone replacement companies. BioT was the one we used. And the vendor that we used was Apex Pharmaceuticals for carnitine and acetylcholine, vitamin B12 injections for fat mobilization and liver detox. I know supplementation pretty well. I'd even go back and become a certified nutrition specialist, a 2-year holistic degree to become a licensed nutritionist if a company wanted to pay for it. I'm still that fascinated by the body. But what sets me apart is you could get anybody who's a CNS or RD or exercise physiologist, or, they're a dime a dozen in terms of nationwide searching. What's tough is to get a person who can dial into the science, but they have human empathy for people's brokenness, stresses, and can relate to the conditions of a person. I started graduate school to be a licensed therapist 10 years ago. I was going to be a counselor, decided nutrition and physiology and well-being is a better route for me than mental health professions. So what sets me apart is I got huge empathy like a counselor. Huge, especially for a man we tend to be very project oriented and get it done. But I got just as much empathy and understanding for people going through some crises. I'm very insightful, very intuitive to pick up on the stresses people are going through, reading body language, reading things they don't say. And I've always been told I'm an inspirer of people. So that kind of fits coaching. A person who doesn't necessarily just prescribe advice, but listens well, reflects back to a person to draw out experiences they've had. And that's why I'm a great fit for the job and what might separate me from it. I have great character and I have great references from a couple physicians to the owner of a organic food energy bar company that I was a consultant to for several years. Even to be honest, I left the job up in Kentucky to get back near my daughter here in Nashville. And Bill Shea, you can call Bill Shea in the Ageless Center in Kentucky. And he will say, Eric, you are a man that has character and integrity, and I'll fight for your character and integrity and sell you to any business. So those are his words. Even had Dr. John Mullins at Marshall Medicine tell me that same year, Eric, you're too smart to be managing the Ageless Center. put a job description together for me. But that didn't work out. He's a hormone replacement, med spa, weight loss, health coaching clinic. And I would do that the rest of my life. I want to coach. I'll be a director, but I'm a servant at heart. And I can go holistic and think broadly in project management to coach insulin resistance and obesity, to autoimmune conditions, to people that want to get ripped, and want to train hard as well. And so I think I have a good blend of a part nutritionist, part physiology expert, part well-being and kinesiology expert blended into this empathetic counselor type personality. Sales and marketing is definitely within my wheelhouse. I moved back to take a sales manager role, and it's in retail. I would rather be in a med spa, hormone replacement, weight loss, supplements, that whole area of well-being. Give me a job that involves coaching with a nice salary, but with some commission structure for that side of sales, and I'd be satisfied the rest of my life for this kind of industry. Thanks.